How do you do it all? Work, 3 kids, twins, wife, dog.
I used to have a full head of hair, but
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jacob from Straight Line Mtb.
who is that even?
Are you kidding? It's you, man.
I know. I just met myself. I'm still surprised.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing this little thing with me.
Man, thank you for inviting me. I'm very appreciative. It's awesome. I'm super excited.
It started out with you posting some little Instagram thing with me on it, and I couldn't have been more thankful that you did something like that for me.
Yeah, I saw through the Cinder chick because I follow her, and I saw that and I found your channel. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I really like that, like the interviews about bike stuff. So I was pretty jazzed. Awesome channel you got.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, I got to get this guy. He's got you've got a killer setup. You got more than enough bikes than anyone could possibly need.
Yeah, that's my game. Everybody's giving me a hard time. How many bikes do you need? I'm like, well, I kind of do reviews, so that's my excuse to my wife and everybody who asks. I'm like, well, it's friends helping friends.
There you go. So what does Jacob do? Where does he live? How's the family? What's going on?
I live in Auburn, California here, and Northern California, amazing place to ride. I'm just so lucky to be blessed to live out in this area. There's just all kinds of riding, which really helps a bike review channel because you're able to try everything, go to the bike park, which is like an hour away, and Downeyville, which it's like world-class riding. So I love living here in Auburn. As far as what I do, I work for a school district. I'm in charge of the custodial department for one of the largest school districts in Northern California. So I'm super full-time busy with that. So
Nice.
Trying to find time to do bike reviews and then, work and then also balance family life. It's busy. My wife helps me a lot. She helps me with the videos and is usually want to keep me in line. Be like, oh, that's boring. Redo it. So I'm like, okay. I got 3 kids. So I got 8-year-old twins and a 15-year-old daughter. So as you can imagine, that's quite the spread of children to entertain on a daily basis. But it's good. We're busy, lots of stuff going on. So I'm a lucky man.
Good for you. How do you do it all? Work, 3 kids, twins, wife, dog.
I used to have a full head of hair, but my wife, does a lot. She works full-time plus helps out. We actually even are homeschooling our kids, so that even adds even more work to the pile. But just busy. Our family's super tight knit. We're always hanging out, so it's actually a lot of fun. We have a blast.
Beautiful. I've seen her in a few of your videos.
Yes, she is my showpiece, so I like to get her on camera sometimes. But when we do reviews, she's always behind the camera and she's like, no, you should say it like this. And it's always like bang on. I'm like, well, then you should be up here with me and do it.
No, I have the same thing. I have a very beautiful wife and she's always correcting, if you will, anything that I'm doing. I used to do movie reviews for a TV show here in Miami.
Awesome, man.
And I would give her the script and then she would say, no, let me take care of this.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife definitely has an awesome way with words, so it's very helpful for her to coach me. I like to say
coach you. Is she a rider as well? I saw that she used to. She quit, or is she still?
Yeah, she did ride. She was actually a pretty baller rider. We only actually started riding. My real riding start was North Star Mountain Bike Park. So 99% of our riding was downhill riding, and that's all we did for, I want to say 5 years straight. She got pregnant with the twins. So that kind of stopped a lot of it. But she's a tough girl. She rode 3 months pregnant with twins up to 3 months at the bike parks. She's like, well, maybe I should stop. Her doctor's like, oh, you ride? She's like, yeah. And he was like, oh, like road bikes? She's like, oh, no, I go to that North Star. He was like, oh, you got to stop.
You got 2 humans inside you.
Exactly.
You don't want to wreck doing some downhilling.
She's but I'm trying to get her back into it. but she's busy, so I kind of give her a break. I'm always like, I'll buy a brand new bike, we can review it.
Anything to buy a new bike.
Yes, anything.
What and I always say this because I've interviewed a lot of, or not a lot, I'm still a small channel, but mostly West Coasters.
Yes.
You guys are very fortunate. Talk to me about where you ride. I mean, it seems like there's so much out there.
Yeah, NorCal is just, yeah, NorCal, especially where I live. So Auburn is like northeast of Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
So just here in Auburn, like 15 minutes from me, I have just like world class. I think it's world class riding. It's one of those, I think, like a sleeper destination place. We have amazing just mountain bike trails, hiking trails, and then there's a OHV. So like, you know, the dirt bike trails, which have some of my, well, they are my favorite trails because they're just pretty nasty, fun downhill stuff. And then, like I said, an hour and 15 minutes from here is Downeyville, which is just like, if you said, most mountain bikers know what Downeyville is. It's like world-class shuttle riding. Then Tahoe area, North Lake, South Lake Tahoe has amazing. That's definitely world-class riding. Wow. And that's 2 hours from here. Just it's crazy. Just I'm like right in the center of so much. Nevada City is another kind of booming area for mountain biking. That's another 30 minutes from me. So just super spoiled and blessed. I'm just lucky. We actually lived in Sacramento. My wife's from here, from Auburn, and I started riding. I'm like, let's move to your home. So we've been here for 6-7 years, and I love it. That's amazing.
When were you from this area? Not Sacramento, but from California, and you grew up mountain biking, or is this something that?
Yeah, I'm from a suburb of Sacramento. It's Rancho Cordova. I lived there, grew up there. Then my early 20s, I moved to Sacramento. I lived there until we moved to Auburn. So I'm local. And I didn't start really seriously riding probably until about 2011 or 12. Wow. I actually, North Star Bike Park's what got me hooked. I had a buddy who's like, hey, let's go ride at this North Star. I'm like, what? I didn't even know what North Star was for skiing or whatever, no matter, I lived here all my life. So I'm like, okay. And I had a Cannondale hardtail with a 80 millimeter suspension. It was like front suspension. It was like a XC bike, and we rode all day. I fell, I think I counted like 22 times that day, and just had a ball, and it hooked me from that day. And then, like I said before, I really was into downhill riding the most, is that's what I rode, because I just love riding that. And then a few years later, I started doing some pedaling, but I would say, you know, the most serious riding I started is about 5-6 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
Like really starting to pedal and suffer on the climbs.
I remember, and I love telling these stories or hearing them too, is I had a Cannondale, all rigid, and, you know, slicks. It wasn't even a mountain bike. And a friend of mine took me to a bike place here in Miami, and it's all rooty and knotty. And I think I actually dislocated my shoulder a little bit that day, OTB.
Yeah.
Popped, and I felt it pop back in, and I fell in love with it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But then right away, I went to a bike store, and I put some Rock Shock. I don't even know what it was. It was a Cannondale M300. It wasn't even a mountain bike, and it was like a hybrid. And then after that, I rode that forever, and I'm still on a hardtail because I'm in Miami. I'm not sending it. I don't have the downhill chunk that you guys got. But yeah, I love hearing those stories. You're getting out and you fell like 20 times, and you're like, you know what? I think I like this.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was funny because a few times on the lift, because the lift operator loads your bike, I'd like, I think 2 or 3 times the guys would be like, hey, how do you like this bike? Like, I didn't know. I was like, oh, it's a sick bike. But now I think back, I'm like, they're making fun of me because everybody's riding these like 880 whatever suspension downhill bikes, and I'm over here on my cross country hardtail just having a time.
You know what? If you can do it on a hardtail, why not?
Well, I don't know that I was doing it, but I was doing it. People were jumping over me like, get off the trail. I'm like, I'm laying down.
So you're living out there, you're riding bike, and one day you just go, YouTube. Was it
Yeah.
that? Did you feel like you had something? Because you guys are, like I say it to everyone out there, you guys are breeding YouTubers.
Yeah, there's no shortage of somebody doing something. I really, it's hard to say how I really got started because I love, like, I know everybody says do your YouTube channel what you love. So if you like doing goofy stuff, or doing skit stuff or just ride reviews, there's a lot, like BKXC does great ride stuff. Me, like, I'm the guy who will watch every bike review about a bike I don't even want. Like the beta tests come out, I watch everyone. So,
Yeah.
and then that and my wife just be like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, my dream would be to ride a new bike every 6 months. Like that. I had said that before I started the channel. And then COVID hit and we were home and I was like, let's just try. So my first like real review video was, I watch it occasionally because I put a bunch of bloopers at the end because it was just like a mess and I just crack up laughing all the goofy stuff I was doing. And but that's really how it started. We were home bored. I got sent home from work for a few months and we were just kind of hanging out. And I'm like, I don't even think I had a GoPro at that time. And I ordered one and I was like, well, let me try and see what it looks like. Cause I was like, well, let's see. And it worked. I mean, I don't know that it's working, but I just enjoy it. I love doing it. And that's one thing I love talking bikes. Like, so it's like if anytime I can just tell people, share, that's really another thing I'm passionate is just helping other people. Like, hey, try to answer every comment on my channel. Hey, what about this, and this? So I just really enjoy doing that. And if it's helping people, that's amazing. I love it. And, I feel cool, like, hey, awesome, I'm glad I can help. But it also helps me buy new bikes. So yeah, I got an excuse
For a new bike. That's why I think I found you, and I've been talking to other people about the Polygon.
Yeah,
because Johnny doesn't have a lot of money and I just bought a boat, so a lot of money's going that way.
Yeah,
and the Polygon seems like a solid,
it is. So that's the
budget.
Yeah, that's like the budgetest bike that I've brought in, like the lowest price for $2,000. I haven't done a final review on it, but I've done some content on it. And I mean, if somebody's like, I got $2,000, I'm like, this is the bike I would get. It's a bike that, depending which one, I have the T7, it comes in at $2,000. And for what you get for $2,000 compared to anything else on the market, like that's the bike that I would get if that's the money I had, because it's a bike you could just jump on and enjoy and love life. And I mean, you might want to upgrade a couple things down the road, but that's not a bike that you're going to be like, I need a new fork, no, you can ride this bike and just have everything you could ever want. So yeah, Polygon, I mean, in that budget space, they're really, really killing it right now.
That's my thing is I ride a hardtail. I've always ridden a hardtail, but I just turned 50 and things hurt more now.
Yeah.
I bought the first bike after COVID.
I
just bought it because it was there. I bought a rock hopper, just elite, because it was there. I went into a store, my bike was trashed, and I was like, I need a new bike. And I kept going to bike stores after bike stores and nothing. I mean, they were completely, I take that back. There were $11,000 bikes. There were, your $10,000, $11,000 bikes there, but there was nothing in any kind of price range, any sensible person. I'm not a pro.
Yeah. And that was the hard part is like all the, I don't want to say reasonable, but anything under $5,000 was gone. So if you had like $9,000, you're like, yeah, I have a bike for you, but anything less, you're like, ooh. And I've honestly, all the bikes I've owned, I've never owned a $9,000 bike, and I'm kind of on the cheaper end. So I don't know if I could do that.
How do you come up with your ideas for a lot of your videos? I know you're not just reviews. I mean,
it's just kind of, I mean, for as far as bikes, like people ask me, can you bring this bike in or try this bike? And I always try, I get a lot of requests and I try to look for bikes, but just like you said, bikes are hard to come by. So really, I'm just getting what I can get. So we're snagging, like the Spire that I just got. I wasn't even looking for that bike. I was actually, forget what I was looking for. I was looking for a different bike, and that one came in stock, and I'm like, boom, go get it, go picked it up. I drove 2 hours to get it. So, but as far as other videos, like I'm trying to like step out a little bit and do some ride stuff and just some kind of show a little bit more of who I am. Cause in those review videos, I'm really like trying to focus on being given helpful content and not trying to go too far off script. But just like I did recently, we've gone on a bunch of trips, like weekend trips to different areas. So I've been putting some videos, some content out of just some new trails and just having a good time. So really that's, I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but I think reviews are my passion. And then I'm trying to do more, like shoe reviews, talking about gear as well.
Yeah.
But just whatever I can to be helpful, and then maybe have a little bit of sprinkle a little bit of fun. I'm no BKXC, but I'm trying to get some of those ride reviews out.
No, but if you get, I love the pages that have variety.
Yeah.
I mean, BKXC, don't get me wrong. I've talked to him. I've been a fan of his forever, but like I like to see, how's this pack that I'm wearing, or is there a pack out there? Or how about the little CO2 cartridge thing, stuff like that, you want to get, and you have a variety of things. I love that about your channel.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing is like, I get so many ideas, and my wife's all like, hey, what about the shoe review we're going to do? I'm like, I just bought 2 more pairs that I want to try so I can compare. So I've got like so many ideas, and right now they're just ideas of videos I want to do, but I just got to really put them together. Cause then I'm like, well, I got to do the Canyon review, or I got to do the Polygon review. So I get really backed up, and then I want to do like my fun review when we went to SoCal, or, I rode with the Punk Uncle show on YouTube. We went over there to ride with him in Fresno, and he had some amazing trails, and I'm still working on that video. And it's like, I got to get that one. Yeah. He's awesome. He's cool. He invited us down to ride. He came to Auburn, and he'd reached out, and he was like, hey, I was going to come out and ride. I was like, cool. And super nice guy. And then he invited me out to come stay out there and show us some of his awesome trails. So I still got to get that video out, but yeah, he's a really good dude. I like it.
Now, is that a relationship brought to you by YouTube?
Yeah. He reached out, and I think he's the only YouTube. Well, you're the second one that's ever reached out and wanted to do anything. So I'm always game for that.
Wow.
Like, let's go.
I feel honored.
No, I'm like, when you messaged me, I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, oh man, cool. Somebody wants to talk bikes.
I'm so new. I'm just a little baby on the
man. I watched your video. You do amazing. I did do a little creeping on you and saw that you do like professional interviews. So I was telling my wife, I'm like nervous. Like this guy sat with movie stars, and I saw, didn't you recently interview Conor McGregor?
Oh yeah, that was for because I'm a professional news photographer. Actually, I do a segment. It's a legal segment. We help people out with their legal issues. Anywho, when they're short staffed in the news department, they send me, and I got to do Conor McGregor, which I was all goosebumpy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, don't hit me. Really nice dude too.
Yeah,
but yeah, in a past life, I've done. Yeah, I used to do the movie junkets and review the celebrities, but you only get 5 minutes, and you got someone behind the celebrity. You don't even see, they hold up a card 4, 3, and then they do this. And you're like, oh,
right. My wife does that when we're doing reviews. She's like, come on, I'm hungry.
Let's get this going, mister.
Say it right so we can go to Slate.
She's cute too. She's fun on camera. You need her more on camera.
I know. Like I'll sit with her. Like we have amazing chemistry. So when we're on, like, it's good. She's so well, she's funny. It's great. I try to get her in more, but she doesn't want to be as much. But
yeah, my wife keeps asking if she can come through the door with the dog or something. I'm like, no, stay down there.
No, we're shut down. We're closed. That's why I told my tell the kids stop jumping because I'm downstairs, and it's like an earthquake because my boys love to try to kill each other. So
twins, boys,
yeah, 8-year-old twins.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
and you bought them bikes?
Yeah, and I did, and I'm not as good of a share of the Stoke as I should be, but I'm trying to take them out tomorrow to go ride. They're like, they got camelbacks for Christmas. Dad, I want to go riding. I'm like, oh, all right, we'll go tomorrow. So
but you can't keep up with me, and I want to send it.
I know. That's why I tell my wife, I'm like, it's my day off. Do I want to go do a charity ride, or do I want to go slap some laps? Sorry, kids.
So let's rewind a second. How did you come up with Straight Line MTB? I love to hear how people come up with their names for their little YouTube pages.
So yeah, when I don't know if I named it, because I put a couple videos out first of me just riding trails when I started, and that was the thing. I'm like, what am I gonna call it? So it's funny because I was watching somebody was doing a video about telling how to start your YouTube channel, and so much valuable information. I think it might have been BKXC, like an amazing video. If anybody's MTB or mountain bike or anybody, he has and it was it's a few years old video, but he had so much amazing information in there. But I remember one thing, he was like, your name's got to be like, make it important. And I was thinking Straight Line, because that's what I used to get. Like before I did the channel, I would have people say, oh, you take like the worst lines, you just go straight down the trail. So I just started yelling, like we were riding. Yeah, we would ride and I'd yell, straight line it. Like I would just say it. So I would tell everybody, just go straight, because everybody's trying to go around the rocks. I like taking the dirtiest, nastiest rock. This guy I used to ride with always told me, I can't follow you. You take the most horrible lines possible. I'm like, sorry. So I was like, straight line. And I was like, Straight Line Mtb. And I think in the video, like he was saying, don't do MTB. It's kind of played out, but I'm like, for me, it really worked. So I just kind of stuck with it. I was like, Straight Line. Okay. I like that,
But we know what it is.
And I also kind of say, like, my review videos, I try not to do a lot of fluff talk and like, hey, this, and this. It's like, I kind of try to be like straight to the point. So kind of play off the name a little bit. Try to get the information out there as straight as I can.
When were you always comfortable in front of the camera? Or is this just something that just, came to you as this? Because I remember I was watching, I guess, one of your first ones, and the lighting it might be in the room you were in.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
It's just the flat lighting kind of.
I think for that one, I was using my GoPro, and I think we had just like one of those garage cone lights, and that's all we had. But I will say, I am absolutely not good in front of the camera. Like when we start filming, I'm like I'm nervous, and then I'm like, wait, I'd be like, hold on, no.
It's you and your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Mixing it up.
But I just get so focused because like I don't want to give bad information, like, or just redundant, or just information that's just empty. So I get really like, what am I going to say? I mean, I don't know. Like, so I get.
Do you bullet point it on a piece of paper?
I don't. And that's the other problem that I'm trying to get better about, is sitting down and like making a script. But really most of the times we hit record and I go, like, it's like, just start talking.
Okay. So now that's impressive information for whoever's watching. That you're good then. Kudos, brother.
If I could show you some of the outtakes, and I'm like, no, you just said that. Like, there's so many things that like her and I like agree on, but we fight about. Like, I say good and really a lot, and I think that's my nervous twitch. And then like even in my videos, like my wife's like, just be yourself, because I mean, I'll be honest, like when I do my videos, like they're very like me focused. Like it's not me, like I'm kind of like goofy and funny, but I'm really just focused. And like, I always have Don Julio. He's always here helping me. I always take a shot before. So I just got to calm down and just
deep breath,
just breathe. And then I'm like, then I'm always like Ron Burgundy, like teeth of the tongue and the lips and the, just trying to get it all straightened out. It's a mess, but.
Oh, I got to tell you, no, and I get it too. I get. And if I'm just me and a camera, I'm fine. Yeah. My wife laughs at me because I get a half an hour before these interviews, I get stupid butterflies. I get nervous. And she's like, why are you nervous? You've interviewed A-list celebrities. And I'm like, to me, you're an A-lister. One, but don't do that. Not on my show, mister. And two, I'm just meeting you for the first time. And I got to talk to you for like an hour, which or more, and it's easy if that's fine. Yeah, but it's kind of easy when you see your stuff and you're so good at what you do, and I'm surprised that you're improving.
Yeah, and I appreciate
I get a lot of people should put a blooper reel together. I think that would be great.
I do. some of my early ones have a lot of bloopers in there. I mean, everybody always thinks they're funny. I think I'm super, like, they're super funny. Like, cause I'll say like stupid stuff while we're talking and I was like, and then I put them, I don't know if people get that far, but you know, I do, if there's some funny stuff, like the latest video, we did something where we were talking about the canyon and I kept calling it the cannon. We were doing it and I was like, oh, the cannons. I'm like, the cannon. And my wife's like, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden these fire trucks go by and I'm like, oh, the police, they heard our cannon. Like, so I put that at the end. But yeah, I think I get so nervous. So it's funny because in my early videos, seemed like I was more relaxed. I watched some of my older videos. I'm like, how come I can't just relax a little bit more? And, but I think I really now feel like my wife and I talk, it's like my responsibility. I feel like I have this like responsibility for people to really just give them that information and try not to be too goofy, but you know.
Yeah, you got a couple viewers now.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah, you're first, you're starting out. You got 1-2 subscribers. You're kind of laid back. You're at what?
I think we're like 27 something, 2,700. So yeah, super. I'm loving it. I'm just like, wow. And then, and the other thing, speaking of that, is just like, I know every channel has their regulars, but I get just the crazy positive, just stuff that really, that's the things that keep me going. It's just, all the positive comments and just, hey, thanks for the help. And even on Instagram, I get a lot of people messaging me and even just asking questions, hey, about this and that. So that really keeps me going. Like when I want to quit, there's been several times even lately that I'm like, I'm just done.
Really?
Oh no. Yeah. I just get like nervous and I kind of overwhelmed. So it's like, but that really keeps me going because people, I feel like I'm helping people, it's awesome. So
yeah,
I have great subscribers there.
I mean,
my followers on Instagram too.
You've got 1,000,000,001 subscribers. And I said this the other day with someone. Actually, I was interviewing a regular guy mountain biking. I don't know if you've seen his stuff.
I don't think so.
Anywho, we were talking. I was telling him before you and him, and I've got another one tomorrow. Before you guys emailed me back, I was about ready to hang it up. I was like, this isn't easy.
Yeah, don't do it, man. I watched. So when you messaged me, I'm like, oh yeah. So I went and watched all your interviews. I was like, okay, these are good. I love it.
They're fun. This YouTube thing is, if you do it for money, you're doing it. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not getting anything.
I'm not. I'm definitely not.
I do it because this is fun.
Yeah.
This is fun. And people like you, I became fans of. I started watching YouTube during COVID because I hear, I don't know about you guys, but bike parks were closed here.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a ton of closures. The North Star Bike Park, I think, closed, but then they opened for a little bit. But like my local trail area is kind of like, and I think it's a national forest or whatever those closures were. They closed the one part of it, but like the OHV was still open. You can still go through, but yeah, it was an absolute nightmare. Like you couldn't even find a place to park. They're parking miles up the road where there literally would be nobody ever parked there. And so, yeah, COVID was a rough time for riding but
you could ride.
I was lucky enough to have some place to ride here.
Boat ramps were closed. Everything was closed here.
Yeah.
And so I started watching mountain biking on YouTube. And then I was like, that's where I found BKXC and your Burn Peak, who is actually from here. I used to watch bike hacks, Seth's bike hacks before that, but I didn't know how big it was.
Yeah, it's
on YouTube.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like there's so many channels, which is awesome. And I love the like you said, the writing stuff. I like a lot of the smaller channels. I like watching stuff. And even if you're going anytime I go anywhere, I'll look on YouTube, what's this trail, and go find it. And reach out to somebody. Hey, we're coming out. Can you want to ride? Yeah. So that's awesome to get that info. YouTube's good. That's amazing.
Yeah. And now being the bigger YouTuber that you are now, is there that audience when you go to say Auburn or where, or whatever, what was the park?
Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I mean, do you bump into your Sender chicks or your Downeyville or wherever? Do you bump into these people and go, oh, I watched your stuff, or do you get people back and forth going, "Hey, straight line"?
I don't get too. I think I've only had like a couple people recognize me on the trail. And I've seen a couple people, like I've ridden with the MTB NorCal guys out here. They do a lot of amazing stuff for the area. So I've ran into the Colorado Kid before. He's a super nice guy. Talked to him a few times. It's such a vast area of riding out here. I've seen B1 a couple of times. I think he was at one of the rides, the group rides for NorCal. He's a nice, I was behind him and chatted with him for a minute, and nice guy. So I haven't ran into a lot. I mean, maybe they were, and I didn't really know who they were. Same like they ran into me, they didn't know who I was.
Yeah,
but
well, you have the full face one too.
Yeah, and that's yes. At the bike park is probably where I'd run into the most people, I would imagine. But like you said, you have goggles and a full face. You don't know who people are.
How's the community out there? Do you have a lot of riding buddies, and are you a solo rider like me?
I ride with a few people. Honestly, like I've always kind of been I don't know if I want to say lone wolf, and not even like just somebody who shies away from that. I just am always just go no matter what. I've been hooking up and riding with more people lately. Like this Raphael, he's been in a lot of my recent videos. I've been riding with him a lot. And then my buddy Frank, who actually got me into riding. I got my first mountain bike because of him way back when. I ride with him. Yeah, I ride with him quite often. I'm getting my neighbor back into it. So he's actually, my old neighbor's going with me too. We're going to Sedona for the Sedona Fest, which I'm super excited about.
When is that again? Is that next year?
Oh, yeah, no, it's in March. Yeah, it's in the first weekend of March. Yeah.
I keep forgetting. We're in a new year.
Yeah, they just had it, I guess, in November. Was rescheduled. Now it's March. So I've never been outside of California to ride except for Reno. So that's something I'm very looking forward to.
You better pack up on some Straight Line MTB stickers.
I'll be handing them out. They'll be like, who? Who? All right. That's why I try to make my stickers look cool. I'm like, you want a sticker? And they'll look at it. Like, oh
yeah. How did you come up with that one? Who came up with that for you?
So I did.
That's a really nice looking logo.
I love it. It was one of those things that I was like, what do I do? Like I made a generic one in the beginning and I just didn't like it. So I was trying to figure out what to spin on it. So, I mean, as a lot of people who met me and gather, I'm a low rider. So I have a 64 Impala and I've always had, for the most part, an old car. So I was there's a website that, you can pay somebody to design you a logo. And before I came up with the idea, they were sending me this generic stuff. And I'm like, no. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It would, because the SL logo is basically a play off the SS Impala logo. So obviously the S and the L, and then instead of the Impala on top, I have them put a bike on it. And then the straight line script is from an Impala font. So I was like, that's perfect. I love it. I mean, it looks good.
16 switch hydraulics in there?
No, I can't. So my Impala I got, it's like 90% original, and I just can't. I was like, I'm just gonna leave it classic. Even when I got it, it's a three speed on the tree super sport, like super like rare combo, not technically like expensive rare, but just you don't see super sports with a 3 on the tree. So I'm just like, keep it nice and clean and just cruise.
I like a 62.
Yeah, that's actually what I was after, but this car popped up. It was in Indiana and I was looking and I wanted a 62 or 63, and I was like, it was just it was meant to be. What's that? No, it's a vinyl top. It's original vinyl top. It looks convertible, but it's black with a white vinyl top. It's
is it dropped though?
No.
All right. You're not grasping the low rider.
Like I said, it's so original. It's so original. It's hard for me to want to do anything to that.
It just looks so pretty the way it is.
Yeah, even it's got the stock hubcaps. It's even got tires from like the 90s, like the old 4-ply tires. I'm just like, I want to do, like, I was gonna lower it, and then our last house we lived in, there's no way I'd get in the driveway because and then now our new place we moved, same thing. So I'm like, I might, once we find if we're ever anywhere that the driveway is not limiting, but it's definitely on my mind. I put fender skirts on the back so it looks a little bit lower.
Low rider bikes.
I have frames. I've all for the last 20 years I've had one that I've been working on, but I was thinking to build one to match the car that would look kind of cool and figure out a way to mount it on the roof and just drive it around, but I haven't gotten that.
I built 3 of them.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that. I lived in LA for a minute and fell in love with that out there. And when I moved back to Miami, I started buying, your twisted handlebars.
Yeah.
And everything had skulls. I had one that was black velour banana seat and the ape hangers and the Continental tire on the back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They have, it seemed like it's harder to find that stuff now, but I think it's starting to come back. But yeah, I have 3 Schwinn frames, like from the early 70s, late 60s.
Oh, wow. Those things are worth something.
Yeah. I think I have 3, and then I have one that's partial. It's got the twisted fork and all that stuff. But I just, now if I'm buying bike parts, it's for me to go ride a mountain bike.
Biking.
It's kind of hard for me.
Let's talk about that, mister. You had in June of 2020, you bought a Marin.
Oh, the Rift Zone? Yes.
And then in July, we see you with an Ibis Ripmo. How often do you buy bikes, man?
And and I have a lot of people ask me like, oh, I would say it's probably every 3-ish months I'll get a new bike. And that's the other thing. It's hard. Like right now I have 5 bikes, and it's like the kids, like, who do I dedicate my time to? And that's another thing that makes reviews not hard, but just more. I'm harder on myself to kind of differentiate what one does to the other. Cause I'm going, like, we went to SoCal and I took my Canyon because that was a very versatile bike. And then I rode that bike so much. And then I came back and ride this bike and that bike. So, and like I said, right now being a hard time to get bikes, like, it's hard to plan and be like, all right, I'm going to review this bike for 4 months and then I'm going to get this bike. Well, right now it's like, I don't want to ever really be out of bikes to review. And plus I love to get on, like, right on top of bikes when they come out. So I'll just, hey, this bike's in stock, let's go grab it. I'll set it aside for a minute, which never happens. I always jump right on it. But yeah. And that's I hate to say it's a struggle, but it is something that's kind of another kind of hard part of the game, is like, I got all this stuff to do and try to be on top of it and give that good, thoughtful content. So it's a good problem to have. It's a great problem. I'm not going to be a snob.
How many bikes do you think you've reviewed on your channel? And do you buy them just for the review and then sell them on your videos or your offer ups? Or
I don't know how many I've had. Probably 15, 20, maybe something like that in the last couple of years. Yeah. But yeah, we buy all our own bikes. I haven't had any bike brand or company give me any bikes, so we're literally doing this off my own wallet and sharing the interview, sharing that stuff with people. I've definitely made some great relationships, like Ibis Bikes. I work with Alpine Bike Works out in Vermont. Tony out there has been amazing helping us get Ibis in. He's like one of those dealers that always has the things that, like, Ibises are ridiculously hard to find. So I tell everybody, I want a Ripmo or a Ripley or a whatever. I'm like, dude, call this guy because he can have it soon or has it. So they've been awesome. And then just some bike brands I've reached out. Jensen, before the pandemic stuff really hit, they were great. They've got a couple bikes from them. They helped me get some bikes. So it's really just trying to find those, people, companies who have the bikes, and then just get what you can, really. Like I said, it's just, I'll have a plan. Like, I wanted this X or Y bike for, really bad, but I can't get it. So I'm getting this bike. And so it's a weird chess game to try to bring in stuff.
It's kind of neat though, that you get to try out all these bikes. I mean,
I'm definitely
you're paying for them, but
it's
kind of your channel.
It is. And it's an expensive channel. I mean, and I get a lot of people like, oh, get this bike. And I'm like, no, I totally will try, but I mean, I think some people, and I've had people ask me like, oh, they send you these bikes for free. I'm like, no, I wish. I'm like, because if they did, I would be reviewing so many more bikes. But hopefully, working to get there. If I ever get there, I would love to. But I've worked with a few brands that have hooked, given us some discounts to, provide reviews. So, and that's another thing, like speaking back of getting nervous, is like some brands will work with us, or other bike shops, or even companies for gear, and will send us stuff. And that's another thing that gets me nervous, because I'm like, I don't want to like do a horrible review on their product, and then like I want to provide good information in return for what they've given me.
Yeah, if someone gives you something, you don't want to be like, this whatever.
Yeah, and I always tell them when we talk
to 360 camera, you're not going to go, this is crap. They gave this to me for free.
Yeah, well, and I do try to be as honest as I can. And that's the other thing is like, if something's bad, like, and I tell them like, if I have a problem with something, I'm going to reach out to you first. So, but luckily I have not really had anything that was bad. I mean, it's hard to buy any bad bike. I've not even come close to having a crappy bike. They've all been amazing. And that's the other thing. Like I said, it's hard to be like, this bike is good. Well, they're all good. So how do I say how this one does this or that better? So
really, you've never had a bike where you're just like, this doesn't feel right?
No, it's crazy. Of all the bikes I've ridden, I mean, of course, everyone's going to have a different character, and everyone's going to be, every bike's going to be different, have a different ride quality, or maybe for a different style of terrain. But there's not been a bike that's been bad. Like the Moran, even the Moran was our second cheapest budget bike. That bike was a shredder. And then the Polygon, that just bike, I really, in my review, I'm surprised. This bike surprised me probably more than any bike we reviewed, because it is just phenomenal. And then of course, if these $5,000 bikes, $6,000 bikes are going to be amazing. So
they better be amazing.
They better. That's right.
What's your favorite ride right now? What is your go-to bike that you always kind of just gravitate and grab?
Right now, I would say the Canyon. That bike just does everything really well. Climbs well and descends well. So like I said, I went to SoCal for the first time. I'd never ridden out there, and that's the bike I took, because I knew that I'm gonna be able to climb really well to the top and then get to the bottom very well. So that bike is probably the most used right now. Previously, I would say, if we're asking what my favorite bike is we reviewed, which nobody asked, but I'll tell.
What is it? What's your favorite bike that you reviewed?
Good question. The Transition Spur, like that bike was amazing. Like if I could have kept that bike, I would have.
Why not?
Because it's hard. Like I said, we buy all our own bikes, and in order me to bring a new one in, I gotta move some of them. So I sold it just so I could bring in more bikes. But I mean, that bike was a 120 millimeter bike, but just shred. And that thing was amazing. But I mean, all the bikes we've reviewed are, like I said, just amazing. I wouldn't be upset to be stuck with any of them. Like
how long? You said 3 months. Are bikes still at a good position right now where you can almost sell them back to someone for almost the same price?
It looks like the market's kind of leveling out a little bit. And it definitely depends on what bike. So I see some bikes are a little more readily available than others. But every bike we buy and we sell, we're losing money, of course. And that's why, I take pretty good care of our stuff, and I don't really fall. So I try to really take care of them. And so I can not only get the biggest return back, but also I want to provide whoever's buying this bike like with a good experience. So they're getting a bike that's just ready to go and in great condition. So, but yeah, the bike market, bikes are still hard to get, but it looks like the used market's kind of leveling off. And I don't know if it's that so much that, people might be settling for bikes, or if that boom of people really trying to find things to do to go ride, like when everything was shut down, is slowing a bit. and then some of those bikes might be hitting market, so leveling off. So, but you know, it does depend what bike it is, of course.
That's funny that you bring that up. Rollerblading got huge here during COVID.
Oh, did it?
I had never.
Oh, out on the beach, yeah.
Oh no, I'm nowhere near the. I mean,
Oh,
I
no?
am near. I'm not near South Beach. South Beach is what you see on TV. But yeah, I know, and so many flailing arms. Nobody knowing how to rollerblade again. It was hysterical. And
Well,
then
that's like mountain biking. Yeah, you get people and you know climbing up hills like about throwing up on the side of the trail. I'm like, this is hard. I'm like, no, yeah, it's hard. Like the downhill is great, but getting there is a struggle.
No, I don't think I could do that. Possibly could not do that. I need a lift. Sure.
Yes, lifts are fun, or e-bikes, which I've got my first e-bike. Speaking of bikes, so those are fun.
Yeah, I would almost want, because there's nothing but pedaling here. It's all pedaling. You don't stop pedaling on the trails out here. And I was thinking an e-bike would be fun, but you almost want it. You almost want to pedal.
Yeah.
You want the exercise, you want the feel. Now, if I was going uphill like I would probably e-bike it.
Yeah, I see a ton of e-bikes, and I was honestly kind of not against them, but just was like not interested. But my buddy talked me into getting one, and I've ridden it a few times. It's a blast. I mean, it makes access to some. We were able to hit trails that we normally have to shuttle or only make one run on because they're so difficult to get to. Make it, fun, and also like people who struggle with just any activity, that I think that's a great access for them. But it's definitely it's a different experience. It is a mountain bike, but there's different variables. Yeah. I had people give me a hard time about it because it's an e-bike, but I mean, it's not easy.
Get up so you can bomb down.
And it wasn't as easy as I thought it was. Like, yeah, you could just chill out and just get there, but I mean, you just want to go faster. So you're pedaling. Our first ride, I did like 26 miles, and me and my buddy that rode, we were whooped because I was on the gas the whole time and just trying to push harder and it's like, you have to push the motor to make it go faster. You can't, it's not like, oh, I'm pedaling and it's going. No, you have to put force on it. So it's like, I was like, oh, this is not what I thought. I mean, of course, yeah, you're going faster, but you're pushing.
Does it have a throttle or does
no?
Okay, because I bought my wife a commuter one, a rad power bike one.
Yeah.
And when I go pick up like carry out, I don't pedal at all, man. I just twist and go. I didn't know if mountain bikes were like that. You actually have to put the effort in.
Yeah, they don't have any mount that I know of any mount. They have some dirt bikes that have that, but the mountain bikes are mostly pedal assist that I've seen. Yeah. I was gonna say, I do this a lot. Sorry. I don't know. I forget everything.
My brain. Merchandise. Your little YouTube page, huge. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize. I take that back. Huge YouTube page. It's not cheap. We've just talked about that. How's the merch?
I don't have any merch, like stuff that I sell. No, I have stickers, but I hand those out. I thought about doing t-shirts and stuff like that, but I don't know. I have a couple t-shirts that I've made for myself that I wear around the house, but
okay, that's probably where I saw them.
I thought about it, but I don't know if just me. I just don't know that anybody would want a shirt. And
you'd be amazed. You got 20 million subscribers.
Only 2,700.
That's still
48. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it, but I mean, if people were asking, but nobody's asking. So, and yeah, it's one of those things that might take away from a bike purchase. So I don't want to
you got to buy the merch in order to.
Yeah, I'd hate to sit on 50 shirts that nobody wants.
What's the next bike we're looking at?
There's a couple bikes.
Away your stuff.
Oh no, I'm always looking. Like I said, it's kind of whatever shows up. But there are two bikes that I'm really trying to get my hands on that I just can't seem to. And one of them's the Orbea, the Rayon, the new one. it just a bike talks to me. All the reviews, the few reviews I've seen of them, it just sounds like a bike that I'd love to ride. And I really like Orbea's brand. I just like what they're doing. And then the other one is a bike a brand I never really thought I'd want is the new Cannondale Jekyll that came out. That thing looks bad. I want that bike so bad.
You know what's funny? Cannondale was back in the day was like, and that's why I had one. It was like the bike.
Yeah.
And now at first they're really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's so many different brands out there. I mean, you bring up Canyon. I've been looking at that too.
Yeah, that's an amazing bike.
And there's just so many. I remember they had the Lefty.
Yeah, and that was my bike. I took the bike park, had a Lefty to boot with my 80mm front suspension.
Oh,
but that I mean, I loved Cannondale. That was my first real mountain bike. But yeah, it seems like for a while they kind of, I don't want to say fell off. It seemed like they did a lot of XC cross country style bikes and kind of the hardtails. But yeah, they got the Jekyll. They revived, been doing really well, and then they revised it for this year, and looks like the few reviews it looks good. And it's just a big bike. I love big bikes. I love having all that cush so I can straight line right down the mountain.
Straight line in it.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, I wanted to say kudos on winning a race.
Oh,
you want to race with your buddies? Talk to me about that, man.
I don't like to brag about that. I don't like to brag about that too much because nobody else was in our class. So we did this cross country race, Granite Bay Total Body Fitness out here. They put on amazing races out here. So some buddies were like, let's go do this 4-man relay. I'm like, because I don't race. Like, they do the big California Enduro series. They do it out here in Mammoth Bar. And I've always thought about it, but I'm not very competitive. But they were like, let's just do it. It's a 4-man relay. So we showed up and nobody else signed up for the 4-man relay. So we got first place, but it was fun. We still won.
What inspires you to get out on a bike, man? What is it about riding a mountain bike that does it for you?
I have so many different feelings about that. I'm not an outdoorsy person. Like, I've had every weird hobby you could ever think of as a child, adult, like RC cars and everything. I've tried everything. And then I stumbled across mountain biking, and, I don't know. I just love being out in the trees, just being out, like climbing. Every time I'm climbing something hard, I always think, why am I doing this? What am I doing? But it's just the downhill like that to me, and like I said, I'm not even an adrenaline junkie, just doing it. It's just something I can't even explain. Like, I can't explain it. I just love doing it. It's fun. I have a great time doing it. It keeps me in not getting too far out of shape, I guess. So it's the one thing that just stuck with me. I just love doing it. It's fun.
And how often do you think you get out? Not like, I know that answer.
Yeah, right now it depends on the weekends because it gets dark early. So when it's summertime and I got some light, I'll ride 2-3 times a week. Right now in the winter, I'll ride maybe both days of the weekends, any holiday. So 2 to 3 times. At one point, I rode like 4 days of the week, 4 or 5. So
wow,
I love it. I mean,
I'll be great wife.
I know, she's amazing. I just run out the door and then deal with it when I get back.
That's awesome. I did. I just find it interesting. We all ride for different reasons. Mine is it clears this.
Yeah.
It's just you and what's in front of you. And I haven't been able to do it. I jacked my arm up Thanksgiving.
Oh man.
And I tore some ligaments and whatever, cartilage. So I've been getting on the riding the street, and it hurts, but I just have to be on that bike. It doesn't matter where. I have to clear that head.
Just leave it out on the trail. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's good when you're mad. Just get out there and get rid of some of the stress. I do it again. Oh, you say you don't write anything, but you've got some pretty clever little intros in your videos, Mr. Man. And one I remembered was, what
kind of rubbers we use when it gets sloppy and wet. Is this a family channel, mister?
It is, because I was talking about tires. I mean, my intro. So I'll say my intros are probably the closest to who I am. And I don't write them. I'll just be like, what should I say? And I'll just like fire off 5 different intros. I'm like, that's the one. Like,
really?
So sometimes I might get a little out of that. I might have had too much tequila, but usually I'll try to say something funny to get you hooked, or try to get you hooked on what I'm going to say. But
again, improvised.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
really impressivo, mister.
Well, my wife and I'll have a powwow for 5 minutes before we start. What are you going to say? I have no clue. Just push the button. And then if it sounds stupid, stop me and smack me. And then let's start back over.
Oh, she's funny. I love it.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She really keeps you in check. She wants this thing to go.
She does. She's the other reason I keep going, because I'll want to quit. No, you're not quitting. You gotta do these reviews. You love doing it. And I'm like,
mister, you've already put the time and money into it. You've got a million videos already.
She's like, I gave you all the money for these bikes. Now you gotta do your work. Like, all right. Yeah, she's awesome. I probably would. I know I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for her. So,
do you find inspiration through other people's YouTube pages?
I do. And that's, like I said, like 90% of the videos I watch on YouTube are reviews, like pink bike reviews, all the beta tests. They review every bike you can think of. So yeah, I really like to, watch those videos, and then I'll read the comments and see what people are saying. Like, okay, they don't like this, or they like this. And then also like what they're doing that maybe I like, or maybe what they're doing that maybe I don't like, or how I would spin it. So those definitely helps me try to keep on track. And then like a bike that I review, I'll watch what people are saying about it, like other reviewers, and be like, okay, yeah, I agree with that. Or like, no, I found a lot of stuff that other reviewers have done that I don't agree with. Like, I think one of them, think 2 different reviewers reviewed the Marin Rift Zone and said it's a way better climber than it is descender. And then in my view, I thought it was the exact opposite. I thought it kind of climbed heavy, but went downhill like a beast. So, so it really helps me. I do definitely get inspiration that way, and try to make it my own and be like, well, no. And sometimes I'll bring it up. Like, I know I've seen a lot of reviews that say this, but I really found this. So I think it kind of gives a different spin on stuff, because, you will find something different. Everybody's different. I might appreciate something that those reviewers didn't, or, vice versa. So definitely helpful, and helps me look out for things too.
Was there one YouTube page that got you inspired to want to do? Or you just thought, hey, I really love this stuff, and I think I can do it?
Yeah, I would say probably the beta. Well, it wasn't beta. It was Bike Magazine. Then just their reviews. I'm like, I mean, that's my dream job. That's my dream job. I'm always fantasize like they're going to call me. Hey, we're going to be in SoCal. We want you to meet us and be one of the viewers. I'm like, that's my dream. Like, yes. Yeah. So I think because they put out a lot of review for bikes. So I'd say them mainly is the most influential for doing the channel. There's another one, Think Media. He does a lot of like YouTube kind of pep you up and hype you up to do a channel. Okay. He's always like, just hit record. Like, his channel was amazing. It's like very motivational, and he just give you tips and just do it. Like, all your first videos are going to suck, so just do it. And so that's another reason it really got me to just do it. So
I think I might have watched some of that, because it's funny. People just say, just hit record.
Yeah.
But I do that for a living. So I wanted to get it right first.
Yeah.
I wanted to research. I wanted to get a background. I wanted to get I mean, I will probably change everything, but I didn't want it just to be this black background and just 2 heads talking. I wanted to be, look at least decent. I probably will grow. Hopefully this will grow, but I'm finding YouTube it's a lot. And I'm just doing interviews. How do you keep up with the comments? That I find that with mountain biking, it's a lot of Instagramming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how do you find, I mean, you've got 3 kids, sir.
Yeah.
How do you stay present? How do you do it? Do you find it being a little too overwhelming sometimes?
I mean, the channel, not so much. I mean, there's definitely weekends because that's usually when we do our videos, is where I'm just like, I don't have it for one reason or another. Just whether it's I'm just overwhelmed with whatever's going on. I've had some stuff going on this past year that's been difficult. So that does play into it. And then I'll just want to be hanging out with my wife and kids sometimes. I'm like, I don't really want to. So, that is a struggle. It's hard, but what's honestly helpful is having a cell phone. Like you get that ding, like, hey, so and so wants, hey, what do you think about this? And that to me is easy because I can respond and just really tell people, hey, this and this. So I enjoy that part of it. That actually kind of helps me get my mind off some things and really gives me motivation. Like, oh, these guys are asking questions. I'm making at least a difference to somebody. So that really pushes me. And my wife will tell me, people love your videos. And I'm like, no, they don't. But she's like, no, yes. So that's helpful. And then Instagram to me is super easy. A lot of my like reels are pretty generic. Well, I'm just putting cool sounds to them. So TikTok is actually the one area what just blew up, and I really didn't even try. I think I have the most there. It's like almost 4,000 followers there. So
TikTok says you should start a YouTube page this year.
Yeah. Somebody commented like, yeah, but you started in 2020. And I was like, I was going to keep on rolling. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. And like, I know a lot. I've seen, your interviews and other interviews of other YouTubers that are in IT background or this, that, a lot of like technical. I'm just a custodial supervisor. Like I'm pushing a mop around. So all this stuff is new to me. So editing was just a really I don't know if I want to say labor of love. I still use the most easiest editor because I just can't wrap my hand. I use Adobe Rush, like the easiest, their lowest subscription one. I mean, it works for me. And I really try to tell myself, I'm going to learn how to do this camera and work this camera and do all this awesome editing stuff. But, all my videos are really just basic, hit record and go, even the writing stuff. So, I want to get there. I just like with all the stuff going on, it's like hard to really
gets in the way.
Yeah. It's hard to sit down and watch a 2-hour video, how to color grade. And I'm like,
I didn't want to use a camera, and I do that for a living. I did not want any of that. I was like, let's just talk.
And this, like, I could do this all day. Like, this is cool. Like, hey, be myself, talk to people, talk bikes. I was even thinking about trying to break into doing like some of the podcast lives, because I'm like, I enjoy watching those. Like Biker B1 does those. I watch those. They're interesting. Like, I like that kind of chemistry because I can not just say, let's talk. Let's see what's going on.
What's funny about all that is I started this and I had this idea. It came with an idea. I was watching YouTubers. I don't know who I was watching, but I was like, I like interviewing people. I like talking.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone doing it with mountain bikers.
No.
Idiot. I'm an idiot. I started going on and I started watching. I did a couple and I interviewed a couple guys that I really liked. And then all of a sudden I started looking up interviews, some mountain bike. And then all of a sudden Biker B1, Robert was there. And I started going on his page and I came home and I go, honey, there's a guy who's interviewed every single person that I
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I thought I caught on to something, but you know what? There's enough room for all of us.
Oh yeah. And that's, I think definitely it's a cool space. I think, like bike stuff, like I'll watch people talking bikes. Like I love talking bikes. So this is super easy for me. Ask me questions. Heck yeah. I'll ask questions. I love it. So yeah, I think I've watched, like I said, I watched all your videos when you said, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like I like this, learning about other YouTubers, what you're into,
what got you into it. I like to find out what got people into it. And like you said, you're into the custodial management thing. And here you are picking up a camera and editing and throwing stuff out into the world.
Yeah.
And I find that amazing.
See if it sticks.
And he likes himself some riding.
I do. Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
yeah. When I saw Robert doing the biker B1, I almost threw. I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. And then when I interviewed him, I asked him, I said, hey, can I interview the interviewer? And he was it's such a great community.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I love about it. And do you find that about your page? Are you finding that you all the comments and the keeping up with that stuff? It's positive. It's positive reinforcement. It's that gratitude that you get back for giving.
Yeah. And that's all and that's awesome. Like, and that's another, like I said, another thing that keeps me going is because, you'll get a random, just stupid comment, which I'm pretty easy going. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll get some funny stuff here and there. But yeah, it's just stuff that where people, somebody commented yesterday, I can't believe you don't have more subscribers. And I'm like, me too. But no, that stuff, or just the questions. Like, I love that I have an avenue for people to be asked questions. Cause a lot of the bikes you get now, you don't have an opportunity to test them. Like, hey, I want to know what's the reach, or, people ask, what's the reach, or does it have this, or does it have that? And I feel like I'm providing something for those people, and I get I get gratification from it, but like being able to help. And again, like I said, it makes me nervous when I do my reviews to be able to say something that's going to be helpful. Like, so. Yeah,
no, you've helped me with the Polygon. I tell you, that's where I go for the reviews. I don't have a bike to test. I take your word for it, man. You better be right.
And that's another thing. I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but
God, what if the guy spends $5,000 and doesn't like it?
Yeah, but like, hey,
you know what? You go, I did my best.
Yeah. And I haven't had any of that because, people ask me questions, I give them what I really think, hey, you're riding too big of a bike. Like, so the comments y'all made at AM, I think I got a large, and I want to say that they changed the size chart after I bought it, because I was like right on the short side of large, which I always ride a large. And then I think I could be mistaken, but I think it changed a little bit to where I was on the tall side of medium. And that bike, I was like, well, it's a big bike. I probably would have been better off with a medium, but I had a few people call me out. But I'm like, I just went off the thing, but
yeah, no, it's whatever you ride. I mean, you feel comfortable on a large.
Yeah.
Ride a large.
And that one, I definitely probably could have went medium. That bike's a big bike.
Dude, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Oh. It's a Sunday. I know you've got a family. You probably maybe have off tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank goodness. We're going riding.
Then get to riding, get to enjoying yourself. Thank your wife so much and your kids for allowing me this time.
No, thank you. I appreciate, like I said, I'm ecstatic. I appreciate the time. It was awesome. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure meeting you, Jacob.
Good meeting you.
Your last name again?
Valenzuela.
Valenzuela?
Yep.
Okay. Valenzuela. Jacob, God, it
just rolls off the tongue.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thanks,
like and subscribe this darn video. It's just a button. Click it, please. And then I'm going to put a link here to take you on over to Straight Line Mtb.
Yeah, boy.
And like and subscribe with him as well. You're going to love his content. He's got so much. Jacob, thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it so much, man.